If you've seen the videos that we have sent out of 3 families that love this congregation, you'll know why we chose Ellen and Dan Trachtenberg. Ellen and Dan Trachtenberg are active members of our Houston Jewish community. They're driven by values and tradition. For well over a decade, Dan has delivered challah rolls and Shabbat gift boxes decorated by teen volunteers every Friday at MD Anderson Cancer Center. Ellen has focused much of her time in opening and growing the Houston Holocaust Museum, where she chaired its core permanent exhibit to effectively tell the historical events of the Holocaust. And throughout the year, Ellen and Dan bring their sons, Mark, David, and Barry, and their respective families home to our synagogue to tangibly demonstrate what is important to them, Beth Yeshurun. It is my honor this evening to call upon Dan Trachtenberg to address our congregation.
Wow, this is a little overwhelming. There are more people out here than there were in the little town I grew up in Seminole, Oklahoma. My parents and other people from the old country had a little wood frame house that was called the Hebrew Center, where we attended, and my sister and brother and my father would walk through the streets of this little town with everyone staring at us, wondering what we were all about. My mother had barely escaped getting out of Poland before the war, but her mother and her 2 sisters were murdered in the Warsaw Ghetto. So my mother kind of lost her faith, but I tell you, she would not miss Kol Nidre. It wasn't sung in the beautiful way we just heard, but it was sung, and she wouldn't miss it, ever. So I moved to Houston around 1970. I soon met and married my beautiful wife, Ellen. And so we were searching for a synagogue to join in this big city. And we went from one place to another, any place we could get in for free. And unfortunately, my brother passed away very early in his life. And my father was here visiting, and he wanted to find a place to say Kaddish. So we wandered into the chapel, and there was old Dave Kaminsky welcoming us, showing us what to do. Once we joined, Ellen had her bat mitzvah here, an adult bat mitzvah that was extremely meaningful to her. And as the rabbi said, our 3 sons were bar mitzvahed here. They attended Beth Yeshurun schools. And my mother got to see that on this platform, and she would have been so proud of her great-grandchildren who were B'nai Mitzvah here. And so this was our early experience with Beth Yeshurun. As the rabbi mentioned, we originally developed a very strong relationship through the Jewish Federation. We participated in missions to Israel, the Soviet Jewry movement. We actually had a ping pong tournament here in support of that. Our sons twinned with children from the Soviet Union who couldn't have a bar mitzvah. So you can see that I love this place. We talk about coming into the sanctuary. In Judaism, a sanctuary is a sacred or holy place, the biblical tabernacle, next to the Holy of Holies in the great temple. But I got out my old Black's Law Dictionary to look at what sanctuary means. there. And it said, in Old English law, a consecrated place which had certain privileges annexed to it, and to which offenders were given a resort for refuge, because they could not be arrested there. So you all can feel safe while you're here, and you can be here and forget about the crazy political world we live in now while you're here. We have this enjoyment of singing together, a world-class cantor, the rabbis who spend so much of their time thinking of what they can teach us to help us live our lives a better way, a Torah way, with spirituality. So I just want to charge everyone, especially those who come after us, the next generations, to keep this place going. We learned through the flood that when you lose something, you really understand what it means. So it's important for my children, my grandchildren, for your children, your grandchildren, that we keep this place going, that we keep the lights on so that we get the light. One of the things that I learned from these wonderful rabbis that we have is that you have to be of service. Be of service first to your family, then to the Jewish community, and then to the world. Tikkun Olam. Shana Tova Umituka.
Thank you, Dan. As I mentioned,